What are the best movies for a spring break marathon?
How you doing, gentlemen? How you doing? I'm on spring break.
Nice.
What's going on?
Dude, I'm excited for this one.
Are you?
Basking in my intergalactic championship.
Yeah,
That's all that's going on here.
I got to be honest. I thought you were very creative. I thought you were doing a bit of behind the scenes, behind the Wizard's curtain, showing the green screen. I thought it was genius.
No, he just got bad lighting.
No, I
think it was intentional.
And even with the effect called green screen, I figured throwing a green screen behind me is very literal, very meta.
Honestly, I think I want that as like my computer screensaver. It was awesome. I could have watched that for another 5 minutes, man.
The belly dropping down. I actually tried to drop down and like fan my knees out, but my fat stomach actually got in the way. It was the weirdest feeling I could possibly describe.
Perhaps a blessing in disguise.
It may very well have been the better part of valor.
But I will say, your lip sync was spot on.
Thank you.
It was amazing. And
Peter!
I felt it. As somebody who does lip sync for a living?
Sure. No, that's the highest praise. And I have a high regard for Anthony.
Thank you, sir. Likewise. And yes, even the work I do lately, we have to put masks over the mouths after they're lip sunk. So I understand what it looks like. I know if it's out of sync, and you, sir, were right there. So
I actually was lip syncing along, but I thought the mask was funny.
Oh, it was hilarious. Okay, so we're doing a special request by Danny. Naturally, it's spring break. So naturally, we're going to do spring break. But I didn't have the foresight for that. I was going to do sci-fi. But here we are doing spring break. I mean, look at me. I got a nice resort, a private resort here. You know, I got a bunch of ladies chilling beside me. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little dark here. But
I can't see it.
You can't see it? Well,
no.
Here we go.
Okay.
Private resort. So we're going to get into it. These are basically the spring break movies. If you're going to marathon, these are the ones to do. And I got to tell you, most of them are going to Fort Lauderdale. Most of them have the same plot. But we're just going to kind of skate down memory lane with them and maybe talk about some of our own spring break stories. Cool?
Sounds good to me, buddy.
Awesome. So the first one we're going to do is Spring Break. That's right. I believe this is a 1983. Sean Cunningham, the director of Friday the 13th, produced and directed the sex comedy. See, I still don't have my camera cues, no matter which room I'm in. And it's quite dated looking, but it's a fun flick. Basically, a couple guys from the city go to Fort Lauderdale, and their motel room is overbooked, and there's a couple nerds sharing it. And they show these nerds a good time. The end. Okay. The
Who
end.
was in that? Anybody of note?
Off the top, no.
Was that the guy from Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Not Grant Kramer. He's the Hard Bodies guy.
Oh, okay. I knew he was one of those. Okay.
And I'm gonna bring back that one anyway because, like as you recall, we did the sex comedy one, but I'm gonna bring back Hard Bodies once we do Summer because inevitably we're gonna revisit a lot of these titles. On to the next one, we're gonna be doing Where the Boys Are. Now this is a classic. Okay, this is a classic. Basically, it's about four gals who go on misadventures in Fort Lauderdale.
What year is that one? That's old.
It's like 60s, I believe.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And then we're going to cut to 1984, Where the Boys Are 84. Now, they share similar plots in that it's four leading ladies going to Fort Lauderdale's and having misadventures, but they're quite different. And my sensibilities, even though the first one's a sweet flick, I land on this one. Hold on.
Especially as a teenager.
Especially as a 44-year-old. But yes, as a teenager. Yeah. No, it's just it's a fun flick, and each gal's different, of course. You got like an ensemble cast, different personalities and so on and so forth. So they all have their, misadventures, as I said. It's a fun one. It's worth marathoning or just watching as a standalone. But don't ignore the first one. The first one's not bad. And George Hamilton's in that one.
Ah, right.
Quick question. Do you have any spring break stories? Harken back.
Okay, so I was just at the beginning of the show. I was saying I never got to really do a spring break. What I did for one spring break was I went to Syracuse with the wide receiver buddy of mine for the Alfred football team. And we went to he showed me all the bars in Syracuse. And it was actually great. We hooked up with a couple beautiful girls, had a great time. And then when I got back to college, I actually had alcohol withdrawal. I was like shaking for the first day I got back.
So you went hardcore.
Well, it was beer, but it was like a lot of beer. It was a lot of beer.
Well,
this is back in college, though. This was way, way long time ago.
I think it's time for another spring break adventure, sir.
Uh-oh.
Maybe 2022. On to the next. We got Revenge of the Nerds 2. Now, everyone has seen Revenge of the Nerds, a rated R flick from '84. Pretty hardcore at that.
It was a great movie, dude. That movie was so funny. We watched it again. Me and Steve actually just watched that again. And, dude, it was funny. It was really funny.
Oh, it's great. It's totally great. I mean, as we discussed before, there's some things that don't hold up in society, but the film itself, you know, it's the film.
The one that doesn't hold up is when
suspension of disbelief.
When she doesn't know who she's having sex with until after. That would never be acceptable today.
Well, of course, absolutely. In the message that they were trying to, because at the end of the day, sadly, in that day and age, there's always like the jocks were the coolest and the nerds were nerds. The nerds weren't like the passionate tech guys that get laid now.
Yeah,
let's be truthful. At the time, it was a real absolute divide. So in a film, well, if a beautiful girl's not going to, again, in the film, if a beautiful girl's not going to hook up with the nerd, I know this is where I can get in trouble, but the point is, he had to prove that all nerds do is think about sex and all jocks do is think about sports. That was the message.
That was the line that she's like,
should he be in prison? Maybe. I don't know. But, but it's a fun film. So let's just look at the sequel. How's that? Let's look at the sequel.
Let's look at this. Yeah, there you go.
So they go to Fort Lauderdale. And basically, they run into the Alpha Betas. The Tri-Lambs, our nerd pals, run into the Alpha Betas, and they are not welcome in Fort Lauderdale. And there's just a series of fun things that go on. It's PG-13, but it's still a little edgy. Totally recommend it. Totally fun. There's really not a mean bone in this film's body. So, Spring Break, Fort Lauderdale, Revenge of the Nerds 2.
I just remember back when the second one came out, I was so disappointed it was rated PG-13.
Really? Yeah, I feel you. I kind of felt the same with Police Academy, but I was still, at least part 2, because it was PG-13.
Yeah.
But I was still like, oh, because PG-13 was new then, in 85. In 87, it had kind of, wore out its welcome. But it still had edge to it though. But yes, rated R is rated R.
Right.
Yeah. Quick question. Kevin, do you have any spring break stories, whether it's Fort Lauderdale or painting your house? What happened?
I certainly don't have anything fancy like Syracuse. I was never big on taking the trips with, 14 people in a hotel room. So we would, basically stay home and roofie ourselves.
Love it. Say no more.
Yeah. You and who are you talking about? Michael.
Cheers.
He thinks we are roofied. Cheers, buddy.
It's a sport now. I'm semi-pro.
You for sure. All right, spring break. So we're going to move on. This one's not in Fort Lauderdale. This one is in Palm Springs. Boom. Actually starring a young Tim Robbins.
Oh, wow.
And if you look at the poster, you may recognize that's Stephen Jeffries. He played now known as Evil Ed in Fright Night. So he was in Fright Night. He was also in 976 Evil.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because
I think,
that guy was a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got, he went off the rails.
But he came back. He's actually in a friend's film. This is 10 years ago was the comeback. My friend Evan McGar, who actually runs a horror convention in North Carolina and actually nationwide called Mad Monster Party. Evan made a film called Sick Girl, And Stephen Jeffries, his big comeback was he played a teacher in the film. And I think he's worked a little bit consistently since. So, yeah, he was definitely off the map. I'm with you, but he was off the map for a while, but he's working and
good for
fans
him.
accept him back. Absolutely. Bring it back.
Well, I always hate to see a good actor go off the rails.
When Danny said off the rails, that he was using the rails euphemism for cocaine. So off the rails would then mean rehabilitating, and I was excited for him.
Oh, I had no idea.
I don't know.
He had switched industries, but then he's now working
to say the least.
Yeah. Oh, so you know about this gentleman?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I met him a couple times. He's a nice guy.
I mean, can we say what happened or no?
Well, yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, it's fine.
He got into porn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
He got into an adult entertainment, sir.
Right.
But yeah, that's some trivia not a lot of people know. So, wow.
I'm on the inside.
Impressed. Clearly. But Fraternity Vacation, 1985 film, young Tim Robbins. Basically, it's kind of the old story. These two guys go to Palm Springs. The nerd's father, I'm just going to use my left hand from now on. That's it. I figured it out. I'm going to tie my right arm behind my back because Susanna, God bless her, is always there. So it's up to me to be there too. I don't want to go there, Susanna. I don't want to go there, Susanna. Can we go back to Fraternity Vacation? I'm going to use my right arm now. Okay. God bless. Now she's just messing with me. Anyway, young Tim Robbins, and they go to Palm Springs, and the nerd, who is Stephen Jeffries' character, his dad foots the bill. So the nerd gets into a ton of misadventures, and Tim Robbins and his buddy get into some rival frat bet. At the end of the day, it's a fun PG-13 film. I recommend it for spring break. The end.
Awesome.
Now, question before we go on to the next. Do you guys have any, off the top of your head, this is kind of a wild card, spring break movies in mind, or just when you think of a spring break film, is there anything you think of? Like
Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp. That's the one I was thinking of. Johnny Depp. That was one of my favorite ones.
Well, we might as well go on to what Susanna just put on because that's the one you're talking about.
Oh, really? Is that the one? See?
Yeah. And that's what this is right here, this standee. Hello. Private Resort.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know if you can see it.
I thought those were candy bars. I couldn't.
Negative. Private Resort. We did this on the sex comedy segment. It totally holds up. And by the way, the gentleman, left arm, the gentleman in the photo, that's not even Johnny Depp or anybody who's in the film. So they're just like poster guys, poster models.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't realize until like 20 years after. Anyway, it's totally a rad film. It totally holds up. It actually looks really clean in terms of photography. It's a crisp print. The transfer is wonderful. It's just a madcap, super sex comedy. And they go to a private resort. And there's so much eye candy in this. It's like a problem. And, God love her. Also, Leslie Easterbrook from Police Academy is in this film.
Oh, really?
And Hector Elizondo. Yeah. And Rob Morrow from Northern Exposure and Mother with Albert Brooks.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's just a fun film. So
I forgot he was in. The thing I liked about that film, aside from the eye candy or whatever you want to call it,
there's eye candy for anybody. I mean, everyone is like just shining bodies left and right. Like,
100%.
No stone unturned in this film.
No, men, women, everything, even older women, and
100%. If that's your thing, they got it.
Yeah, and but the thing I liked about it was it had this sitcomish type of miscommunication going on all the time, that's what made it funny. It reminded me of Three's Company a little bit.
Yes, it's madcap for sure.
Yeah, and the acting was the actors were fun. I mean, I thought they did a great job doing the comedy.
Unfortunately, Johnny Depp doesn't necessarily acknowledge this film, but I watch this once a year. So
right.
His fans acknowledge it. So maybe one day if I ever run into him, he can begrudgingly scratch my VHS print. But I wouldn't bet on it.
I mean,
on to the next film.
Didn't that help his career though? That helped his career, I think.
Of course, it's all a stepping stone to where
Yeah.
it is now.
That was a big movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. On to the next film. What do we got here? Boom, boom, boom. Man, this is a problem. So this is set in Lake Victoria, which is a fictitious place for like Lake Powell, Utah, Arizona. And if you haven't seen it, it is full of boobs, full of butts, and full of blood.
Wow, I have not seen this.
Oh, it's awesome. And yeah, it's super gory. It's from the director of the Hills Have Eyes remake, which I found to be very good. His name is Alexander Aja. He's a French director. He also made the recent alligator film called Crawl.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Excellent. Yes, I loved it. In fact,
I keep going back to that movie though. When the guy's arm got ripped off, and then the rest of the movie he still was functional. I'm sorry, but your arm gets ripped off. You're not going to just be. You're going to be screaming in pain the whole time. You're going to bleed out. You're not going to survive unless you got a tourniquet on your. I don't know if they did the tourniquet, but
I've seen this movie now, or at least Crawl. Kevin knows what's coming. I've seen Crawl now 4 or 5 times because I keep showing friends, and I think he loses his arm at the end, and then it's just the end after a few more scenes.
Yeah, but he's still talking like normal. He goes, "Let's do this, let's do that." I'd be like, "Ah!" just the whole time.
Fair enough. Thank God it didn't happen in the first act, but it was definitely third act appendage problems.
It's a flesh wound.
Come on, how much?
It's a flesh wound. Yeah,
you wouldn't just be having conversations. You would. You know.
Well, it's not like it's just like he lopped his arm off. He's like, "Listen, I really got to take out the trash." It was none of that.
Yeah, but he's not even going ow or ouch. Ow.
He was in shock. Well, he screamed, I imagine.
He's in shock, but has normal conversations.
I'll have to watch it for a 6th time just for this, to make it accurate. But to get back to Piranha 3D, I think it came out in 2010. It's pretty good. It actually opens up with Richard Dreyfuss drinking Amity beer. Like a little throwback to Jaws. Yeah.
Sure.
And Christopher Lloyd is actually in it. He's like the scientist who understands piranha. And the whole time, it's so funny. The whole time, he's literally playing Doc Brown. He's like, without saying, "Great Scott!" He's basically saying, "Great Scott!" the whole time. It's so fun.
So wait, this was after Back to the Future?
Oh, well, yeah, it was 2010. Yeah, absolutely. So
that's crazy that he went. Okay, all right.
Christopher Lloyd still acts.
No, but, I know that. I know that, but it's crazy that he chose a role in such like a. It's a B movie, right? It's not,
yeah, but the directors, I think at that point, well respected. He came onto the scene. I believe Alexander Aja's father was a French director. Some of the movies that he's done escapes me, but he was well regarded. And when Alex came onto the scene, he made a movie called Hot Tension or High Tension, foreign film. Totally brutal. Like he's a horror director. And he's known for his brutality in his films. But when he came onto the scene, this is after Hills Have Eyes remake. Piranha 3D just, I don't know. However they got him attached, they understood. I mean, Ving Rhames is in it, Elizabeth Shue. And also they respect the original Piranha. Like they knew the studio wasn't going to mess with the property that is Piranha. Directed by Joe Dante.
What?
The original, yes. Yeah.
Okay, now I have to watch it. I have to watch. I
79, the original 79 one. Yeah.
I love Joe Dante, man. I got to check that out. But I think one of the other reasons they probably signed on was because that's when 3D just really came out and started becoming popular in the movie theaters, wasn't it?
I got to say it wasn't. Robert Rodriguez is one of the reasons why it actually started becoming popular again. Almost several years earlier. Like he started doing Spy Kids 3D. And the studios were like, no, it's not going to work. Nobody cares about it. And all of a sudden people care about it. And then they started literally every other movie started becoming 3D. If you start looking like in 2004, 5, 6, 8, 9, and they just wanted to do a 3D one because the trend was it's making money, you know, it's double the ticket, but it was still kind of the sweet spot of 3D. But Robert Rodriguez, I feel, really deserves the credit for bringing 3D back.
Yeah.
Well,
he's another guy that I'd like to look at my movie too.
Oh, I actually met him.
Really?
We were watching, long story short, too late. I was watching a tribute band called Lights. I think it's a Journey tribute band, like a Latino Journey tribute band at a place in the Valley. And I was hanging out there, and I looked behind me, and it's Robert Rodriguez and Rose McGowan.
Oh my God.
Yes, at the time they were dating.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit. So actually, it's funny because with me, randomly, I had some B movies on DVD in my girlfriend's purse.
No way.
Stuff that he totally would love. And I ended up like basically getting on my like T-Mobile Sidekick, and I texted a message, and I passed my phone to him, and he read it, and it basically said, "Hey, my name's Anthony, blah, 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 blah." At the time I was making a picture, and I told him a little bit about it. And I said, "Hey, if you want a tour of South Park, I would love to give that to you. Or if anything, just come by for the food. The catering is great." He gave me his email. He was super nice, gave me a thumbs up, texted some stuff back to me as a response with my phone. And then, Rose McGowan recommended For Weddings and a Funeral remake. The end.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going off. But yeah, so Piranha 3D is really good. So yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we've got one or two more. So Spring Breakers. Okay. Have you heard of this one?
No.
So this is relatively recent. I think it's like, God, I think I have it right here. 2012. I'm gonna
James Franco.
Yeah, 2012. This movie, it's right there on the bottom. This movie fucking sucks. Okay. I don't like it. And it's an experimental film. James Franco is channeling an indie rapper called Riff Raff. No problem with that in terms of his look. But this is written and directed by Harmony Korine, who I believe wrote Kids. Remember Kids from back in the day? Directed by Larry Clark.
That was a big breakout. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hardcore one. And he went on to do like Gummo and Julian Donkey Boy and so on and so forth. All these other like trippy films. I was interested in this because of the cast and the fact that it's Harmony Korine, because I do like his work. He's out there.
Right.
This movie was so experimental and, unfortunately, in my opinion, not in a good way. It all basically boils down to James Franco's a thug. Okay. Can you even use that word these days without people getting pissed? He's a bad guy. Okay.
Yeah, as long as you're not saying you're a thug.
Yeah, no, he's just a bad dude, right? And these gals go on a spring break. If I recall correctly, I saw it once and I'll never watch it again, but it's called Spring Breaker, so it had to be showcased. And they gravitate towards this figure who's got a bunch of money, but he's a crook, and they start doing crooked things with him. And what's weird about the film when you're watching it, don't watch it. But if you're watching it,
stop immediately.
I feel like I feel like the filmmakers were like watching the cut and editing it, and then once it was done, they're like, no, go back. And they're like, well, why do you want to go back? And the guy's like, because I want to whisper spring break.
No.
100 times throughout the film.
Oh.
So when you're watching the movie, all of a sudden you hear spring break.
Oh, I hate it.
And you're like this.
Yeah, I'm looking for the exit.
What? Why am I hearing this? I get it. It's called Spring Breakers. Like, yes, it's spring break. But it's like a fucking song that goes on for 90 minutes.
So if you're watching it, put in earplugs and cover your eyes.
Yeah.
While you're leaving.
Yeah. So that's it for the marathon. That part's the anti-marathon right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's all I got. It's Fort Lauderdale, Palm Springs, and a private resort, and Lake Victoria, which is a fictitious place for piranha. These are places we should visit.
No, that was awesome.
Yeah, no.
I want to go back and look at some of those films now. Certainly the original Piranha, but thanks again, Anthony. You are always awesome.
I don't know about that, but thank you. Appreciate it.
I always love your segment. Kevin, why Raising Hell? What is that?
It's National Chocolate Covered Raisin Day, so I put Raisin Hell as an homage to Run DMC before we decided to do the TikTok contest, which is how I arrived at the song I defeated you with.